Hi, and welcome to another episode of Discovering Our Gifts. I'm Jeannie, and with me are my cousins Lenny and Ani. On today's episode, we will be discussing manifestation and some of the techniques available to you, and which ones we've used and how they've worked out for us. So, hopefully, you will find something here that'll help you along the way.
So, manifestation, many religions from Christianity, Islam, Hinduism, Buddhism, and other philosophies from around the world speak about and have their own ideas about what manifestation is and how it works. But most of them agree that getting into a flow state is key to manifestation. Your thoughts and emotions carry energy and vibration. So, flow state is also known as being in the zone, when everything's just coming together for you and you're just like effortlessly um, doing what you want to do and getting the things that you want done and reaching your goals. Like everything is just like naturally comes together. That's what's being known as flow state or being in the zone. There's a whole Wikipedia definition about it. The one thing, there are things that can be disruptive to flow state. That's stress, anxiety, self-doubt, and even sometimes boredom. Like if you're so bored, you just don't feel like you have any inspiration or anything, that can be disruptive to your flow state. Um, they mentioned, and when I say like, this is a generalization of everything that I've seen and watched or read about it. Um, they say you want a constant, moderate level of excitement, energy, pleasure, interest about what you're doing. And the reason they say moderate is because to maintain a high or extremely high level of all of those things is hard. It takes a lot of energy. So the goal is to ride a flow of, from moderate to high and back down, but you want to always keep it at least moderate level of all of those things. So like if you have a hobby, you want it to be something you get excited to work on. That excitement gives you energy, you get pleasure, and you have interest in doing it. So that can put your mind, body, consciousness, or subconsciousness, I guess it would be, into this like synchronized flow.
Okay.
And when you're in that synchronized flow, it creates this vibration of attraction around you. And the things that you want, the things that you desire can sometimes seemingly come to you like effortlessly. Like you put your hand out and say, wish I had an apple right now. And here comes your friend and puts an apple right in your hand. So with all of that being said, Ani, what have been some of your manifestation experiences? Have you had many?
Yeah, but the first time that I hear about manifestation, it was from my sister. She recommended me the book about the secret, the Rhonda
Oh, yeah.
Byrne.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Rhonda Bryan.
the first time, no, it was not the book. It was the documental, like a movie documental.
The documentary?
Yes, yeah, it's the same. I think about the book.
Okay. Yeah.
So at the first time, for me, it was like I discovered something new, because I never hear about that. And it was very positive for me because it changed my mind. It changed I think my life because I learned to be positive.
Yeah.
And I was trying, I remember when I saw the movie, during I see the movie, I feel positive. I don't know why, but you can feel something good. I say, oh my God, I can do that. I
I
can do
haven't
that.
seen it yet.
No,
No,
it's really
I've read the book, but I haven't seen the movies yet.
Mm-mm.
good. It's the same. It's the same. But it helped me a lot because I changed my mind after that. Everything.
Yeah,
It's
I agree.
like now I know every day we are creating something, you know, after the movie. Now I know we are creating. So the first thing that I noticed, it was like I was thinking negative for a long time ago, and I don't know that. So now when I think something negative, I say, no, stop, because I'm creating, something more is coming to me.
Every thought you have is creating reality around you. It's
Yeah,
about energy and vibration.
I
Yeah.
always say be very careful
What
what
you
you
wish
wish
for,
for
yeah,
because it'll
and what
come
you tell
true.
yourself, like the things you tell yourself. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. So for a long time, I stopped manifesting because I have to be sure about what I want. I want to be clear, about, because sometimes you desire something, but you have to make how can I explain that in English? Like you have to be specific, because
Mhm.
sometimes you say, yeah, an example, I say I want to work in the, like a work of my dreams, but you can take the, the work of your dreams, but maybe it's not in here, maybe it's in China, in Japan,
Yeah.
or
Yeah.
Canada, but you
It's
have
cross
to work.
country.
Yeah, but so you have to be specific. So
Mhm.
I stopped manifesting because I have to be sure about what I want. I have to be specific, because I start doing the secret, manifesting, but I forgot to be specific.
Yeah,
So
that makes two of us.
yeah,
It
so
happens.
yeah, and I learned a lot about the law of attraction,
Mhm.
Yeah.
and Um, I learn to be grateful every day, because I know if I feel grateful and I say that, I know, you know, attract more good things in my
To be
life.
Mhm.
grateful for. You'll attract
Yeah,
more good
yeah,
things to be grateful for.
mhm,
Yep. Exactly. And that's how it works. That's a technique. It's,
yeah.
the technique of being grateful. Yeah.
And it's not like I say, I'm grateful because I have my car. No, you have, like, I learned to be, like feel, like a feeling, like you have to feel love about what you have now, you
Mhm.
know.
Do you have a specific experience, like something specific that you manifested that you could remember?
Yes, a few things. And two times I manifest a car, like I say, no, I know the secret, so now I know I can get my, my favorite car. It was in Puerto Rico. So I was talking with my friend about that, about the car, that I want. And he say, oh, but you can go to the, how you say, the dealer,
Mhm.
and you see the car, and you can test, like a test, but you don't have to buy it, just
Right.
try a test. Okay, so I went, and I take the magazine about the car, and I take it from my home, and every night I just look in the magazine, every night, and I manifest my, the car of my
Do
dream.
you, Ani, do you remember a few years, well, a long time ago, you were still, I think, here, that I took a shopper. They had put the electric cars for kids, the big wheels for
Uh-huh.
children. it was in a Christmas shopper, and they had a Volkswagen Beetle and they had a Mustang. And I posted it in the chat, and I was like, which ones do you vote for me? Like, which car would be mine? Do you remember that? Was a long time ago. And some
Oh,
people
I
voted
guess.
for the Beetle and some people voted for the
I
Mustang.
think so.
I ended up having both vehicles, both cars. Remember? I had the black Beetle and then I had the black Mustang
Yeah. Okay.
many years later, but I had both. Apart from the two cars, like her, she actually recommended The Secret to me. And I'm self-help book. I love reading. I'm an avid reader. Self-help books take me a minute to read because I don't know why, but
Me
it
too.
just is. But for some reason, she kept on because she's very adamant about something and decided when she tells you to do something and you haven't done it, she'll keep on you about doing it. So Ani kept bugging me about The Secret. So I was like, all right, I started reading it. And then, like she said, it helped me change my mindset. It helped me. And at first, I don't know if I'm a slow learner or what it is, but at first I started trying and I wasn't seeing any results, but I kept being, I kept the faith. I was like, okay, I'm gonna do this. This is gonna happen. This is gonna happen. And I guess I slowly changed my mindset, and then I started seeing the changes. I have so many, like I have a list of, I can give you a rundown of all the types of, we could be here all night talking about all the manifestations I've done. And like she said, I've done two very significant manifestations where I manifested what I wanted, but not the way that I wanted it. And they made very drastic changes in my life. One was a job. Actually, two of them were job related. One, I was having a difficult time in my life and I wanted to be alone, and I wanted to be able to establish a strong mindset to make certain decisions in my life. And I ended up getting transferred in my job to a whole nother country, literally. And I was there by myself, but not the way that I wanted. And I was away from my child, and I was away from my family, and I was away from my husband for almost 2 years. And I had the time to do the thinking, being alone and away from everybody that I wanted, but not the way that I would have wanted it.
Yeah.
And in the end, like in hindsight, many years later, it's brought a lot of benefits to my life today, but it still wasn't the way that I would have wanted. It wasn't the
time.
road that I would have wanted to take. And yeah, at that point in time, which was my dark night of the soul period of my life.
Yeah.
But like I said, it brought many benefits to today. So there is that. You have to be very careful with what it is that you're wishing for, what it is that you're putting out into, some people call it to the universe. I call it talking to God. They're listening to you out there. Be very, very careful what you wish for, what you're
Yeah.
trying to manifest. Be very specific, like Ani said. I think that's the most, if you can take anything away from this video today, that's the most important one, is be very specific, be very clear about what it is that you want and how you want it, because you'll get it.
Yeah. Intent is a big factor
Yeah.
in manifestation. What it is that you intend to come about. Yeah.
Mhm.
And you can have fun with it, because like in the Secret, they recommend that you do checks to yourself. I don't know if you ever did them on.
I've heard about that.
Yeah, so you write checks to yourself from the universe or from God. I think the checks I did them from the universe or something like that, for different amounts, a whole bunch of different paper checks for different amounts. And I copied the format from a real check and I put them all away. Little did I know that would work. And I did it with all faith and a whole lot of faith, a whole lot of intent, good intent, and they worked. And sometimes I would receive checks in the mail for little amounts or big amounts that I wasn't expecting at all. Like
Yeah.
sometimes, and it's like you'll be like, oh well, like one of them was for a balance of a card that I had paid off, and then I overpaid and I got that check back. Well, I wasn't expecting that money back. I thought it was due, but I got that check and you need to celebrate
Yes.
it. And I did. So even now today, yes, I find deposits in my account for different things that I don't even know why I'm being sent the money. And I'm like, what is that? And then sometimes I think it's like the bank making mistakes or something. I'm like,
Yeah.
like, thank you. You know, I'll make sure to say thank you because I don't know what they're from or where they're coming from. So it is good if you know how to do it right. It can bring a lot of benefits to you. It's
Yeah.
it's so good. It's life changing.
Yeah.
What about you, Lenny?
I've manifested a lot of things. Cars, my husband.
Yeah, so did I. So did
Um,
I.
you know, sometimes I've been like, oh, it's been too long since I've had a weekend at the beach. I could really use a weekend at the beach. And then my husband will surprise me like 2 weeks later, like, guess what, babe? I booked us a room, and I won't have mentioned it to him, but he'll book a room. It happened like that with him with my last vehicle. I had a Navigator before my last vehicle, and it was 20 years old. It was on its last leg. And my husband had been trying to convince me for like the last 4 years to let it go, let it go, let it go. And I'm like, no, I don't want a car payment. You know, I just didn't want to deal with it. So finally, one day, the thing in my car went that held the window up, and my window went down into the door. And I remember I was like holding onto the steering wheel, and I was like, okay, I give in. I need a new car. I can't. I get it. All right. 3 days later, my husband calls me on the cell phone and he's like, you home? And I'm like, yeah. And then I see a car pull up and I'm like, babe, somebody just pulled up in the driveway. I don't know who this is. And it was him with a new car. Again, I did not tell him that I'd had that
Uh,
thing. I was just like, I'll mention it. Because he was gonna fix that for me. And I was like, we'll deal with it. I'll give it a few more weeks and blah, blah, blah. We'll deal with it then. And yeah, he showed up with a newer car. So it's cars, it's happened multiple times.
Mhm.
When I was single, I needed to buy a new car. And because I was a single mother at the time, I had to be very tight with my money and everything. So I really thought it through and I did my research and I um asked for a make, not a make, I'm sorry. I asked for a stick shift, great on gas. I'd even take the color red, blah 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 blah. And I ended up with a stick shift Saturn in red. And I remember the day I bought it, my mom was with me and I looked at her. I was like, do you know, like I asked for a red stick shift car that was really good on gas. This was decades ago. And she was like, no. And I was like, yeah, like I this is what I asked for. And I got it at an amazing price too. So yeah, it's happened when I needed it most. Same thing. We've needed money in emergency and you need extra money and whatever. And all of a sudden you find out you overpaid your homeowner's insurance and you get a refund, or you overpaid on your taxes and you got a
Yeah, and
refund, or
it's not money you're expecting at all.
exactly.
So
Yeah, I'm like, oh crap,
so
babe,
it's bank.
we got the money to cover X, Y, and Z. Yep.
Mhm.
Yeah.
You remember any other times, Ani?
I think, yeah, another car.
Another one?
Yeah, in here, but in here. because I remember it was a hard time, like
Mm-hmm.
6 years ago, and I was sick. And after I recovery, I remember I don't have any car, so I have to walk like across to the apartments that I live
Mm-hmm.
and to take a ride to go work. But I have to walk front of the dealer, front of the Honda dealer. And I say, oh my God, I have to walk every day at 5 o'clock to take a ride. And I pass front of the Honda dealer and I say, you know what? I was walking, looking the cars, and I was like, one day I'm gonna buy a Honda Accord. Every day taking a ride is not, that's no good.
Mm-hmm.
Walking like at 5:30 every morning. And I was so tired and it was a hard time for me. So I think after 1 month, I buy my car, Honda Accord, that I like.
Now, let me ask you ladies a question.
I received some money. I remember.
You receive money?
I received money before.
Now, I want to ask y'all, what was it that you girls think you were doing um to manifest these cars?
Honey,
Um,
Like
for
your
me,
mentality,
yeah,
like what were you thinking and stuff like that? Like break it down just a little bit.
like okay. So every time I walk front of the cars, I say, you know what? Why not? I say, why not? That's not impossible for me. That's not maybe because I have a hard time now. That's not impossible. So I was think about like a soon. It's coming soon.
Soon.
It's coming
Okay.
soon. So I was looking every day I say, I know I can't right now because I don't have the money. And I think I remember after 2 weeks, I received the money. And I say, what? But a good money. But I have to, I have to be careful because I have to pay a lot of money about my surgery, about my, about my treatment. And I say, you know what? So after I paid everything, now I'm going to buy my car. And for me, it was like a miracle. I don't know. But I always say it's not impossible because I
Mm-hmm.
have a hard time. It's not impossible. Uh-uh. So I always say like if someone say like try to do the impossible because it's possible,
you
That's
have
what I say.
to actually believe that what you want is possible to come to you. You have
Yes,
to have
yes.
that belief and that faith that it's
Mhm.
going to
Mm-hmm.
come through.
And you have to think like you deserve,
You have to be willing to receive,
Mm-hmm.
open to
Yeah.
receiving what is meant for you, the good things that are meant for you. You have to believe that you're deserving of it, because if you don't believe that you're deserving of it, you're not going to give off that energy
Yeah. Mhm.
that's going to magnetize that thing to you. It's going to attract that thing that you want and bring it to you. You know,
Mm-hmm.
a lot of things that most people want to manifest, you do have to do a certain amount of work to achieve those things, whether it's a
Yeah.
promotion, a house, a degree, whatever it could be. But you also have to have belief that you're worthy of achieving that goal,
Yep.
that you can achieve that goal. If you don't believe in yourself, it makes you're adding a 50-pound boulder onto your back in an uphill battle when you don't believe in yourself.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That is so true. When I was at my last job, um, I felt it got to the because I was in security. So, and I was head of security at my last job. Um, and it got to the point where I was feeling like hated by almost everybody at the place where I work. One, because of the position. Most people don't like being told what to do, first off, and then
Yeah.
just being the boss in particular, most of your employees are not gonna, even if you're a fair boss, which I
Yeah.
consider myself to be, but it comes, I guess, with the territory or whatever.
There's always
But
someone.
so around that time is when I started getting into the secret and trying to work on it, trying to change my mindset, trying to change my environment, my present environment, so that I could have a better one. And this is again where it kind of, how can I say it? I wanted a really good job. I
Mhm.
wanted to get out from where I was, but I needed to make my current situation good. So what I did was I started saying to myself, everybody, I brighten everybody's day when they walk in the door, and everybody loves me once they walk in the door. And I would say this to myself every single day, and every time somebody looked at me wrong or rolled their eyes at me or whatever it was, or just blatantly ignored me while they passed by, and I was just like, "Oh, I brightened their day today." Like, sorry. First, I started doing it sarcastically in my head, and then I started kind of like a mantra of it in my head. And little do you know, people started smiling at me. People started stopping to chat with me. People changed. I would want to say overnight, but gradually everybody just started changing. And then the environment around me started changing. I don't know, maybe, I don't know. I just had that faith that I was going to do it. But my ultimate goal was actually to change jobs. So I wanted a job where I could support myself in the event that something happened to my husband,
Right.
for health reasons. So what I did was kind of like a vision board where you, for those of you that don't know vision boards, you just put up your ideas and wants up on a board somewhere visible for you,
Right.
and you can like see it every day and think about it every day, and you visualize it, everything that's on there being yours. Well, what I did was I wrote on a note all a list, a little list of all the things that I wanted. I balled it up and I put it in my locker at work. And one of those was my current job now, was on that list. When I was packing up everything to get to leave my job, my last day at work, I found the little ball. I didn't even remember that I had written that down, my new job, but it was on that list, and I have the new job. Um, that was on that list. But what I was actually manifesting was I wanted a really good job. I was thinking, and I did. I got good benefits. I got great pay. It's not the best job in the world, but it's giving me everything that I was asking for. That's why you need to be very specific with what it is that you want. I was thinking multimillionaire. I ended up in a different kind of job. But I mean, you can do it. If you think of it and you're very specific, you can do it. And I did. I did the change. Even when people were telling me, you're doing too much just to get this job, and you're doing this and you're doing that." You got to also be able to willing to put the work in, because it's not just that you're going to lay in your bed all day
Exactly.
and it's going
Exactly.
to come to you. No, you got to keep living your day. You got to work. You got to do the work.
Faith without works is dead.
Exactly.
I have a question for you about how you manifest your husband or your boyfriend, because I'm very curious about that. Because people say when you have a desire and you try to manifest, you have to wait for the law of attraction. So, because when you want something, it's not coming like the same day or at the same hour or something like that. So I'm very curious about that because you have to wait, you know.
Okay, well, you have to remember that God or the universe or whoever you believe in, um, is going to give you what you want at the moment that it's supposed to be there for you.
when you're ready
Okay.
for it.
In the right time, it's going to be at his time or the universe's time, not yours. So
Exactly.
not your time. It's the one thing that you have to remember. Like, you have to be in the right mindset. Everything is going to work out. Even if you don't see it, everything is going to work out the way it's supposed to work out.
Exactly.
Even if you make different choices from the ones that they have for you, you're going to end up in that path anyway, if you do things the right way.
There's more than one person for everyone out there. The idea that there's only one person is not true. You know what I mean? So
Okay.
But you'll always end up with the person,
that you're meant for. So
the
for
best
instance,
person for you. Exactly.
people that you may have been in the past, they were
Mhm.
sent to you to teach you certain lessons about yourself, relationships, trust, and all of that. You know, you go through those experiences and other life experiences that all prepare you to be at a place where you're ready to be with the person that you're meant to be with.
Yeah.
I say many times, I have such an appreciation for my husband, and we wished we would have met earlier because we knew so many of the same people. And, but then we've said to each other, I'd still appreciate you, but I don't know if I would appreciate you to the level that I do now because of the experiences that I had before we were together.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Okay.
sometimes you got to kiss a few frogs before you meet your prince, and those experiences lead you to being prepared for the right person.
Yep.
A better understanding of relationship, trust, compromise, what you do and don't want, most specifically. What you do and don't want. You find out when you date other people what you do and don't like. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah.
and all of that
Do-
leads you to the right person.
Yeah. Now, to answer your first question, which was how recently, I think last week, I was actually thinking about, like, my husband's traits. And I remember from when I was young, because I wasn't the type to have a lot of boyfriends. So I was mostly single most of my most of my young adult life. Prior to meeting my husband, I had a few friends here and there, but nothing really, really serious. Um, and I always wanted traits in my husband that my father has. I wanted him to be funny, and I wanted him to be the kind of person that'll get along with everybody. And I wanted him to be loving to his family. And I wanted him to be a person that was present, like, and my husband ended up with all those traits and then some. He's all that and more. And I wanted to be attracted to him. Like, that was probably one of the most things that I wanted. And, I wanted him to be older than me. Like, I wanted somebody more mature than I was, because I don't know. I don't know why that, but those were all the kind of traits that I wanted in my husband. And I'm not saying it's all perfect, because it's far from it. It's been a lot of work. But in the end, he is exactly all of those things and then some. He is all of those things. So be very specific. Be as specific
Yeah.
as you want it to be, so that you can be as close to, like she said, your prince as you can get. Your príncipe azul, como dicen in Spanish. Yeah. Was
Yep.
it like that for you, Len?
Yes, I was extremely specific.
See?
I had taken a couple of years from dating. I was a single mom and everything. And then, started dating here and there, whatever, and nothing serious or nothing like that. And then, once I was at a good and solid place in my personal life, I realized I was ready for a serious relationship. And I just remember laying in bed. It was a very calm time in my life. Like for like 90 to 95% of things, like my home life was very calm in certain aspects.
Mm-hmm.
And I was just laying in bed one night and I just spoke out into the air like if I was literally speaking to, you know, the universe, God. And I was extremely specific, extremely specific. I
That's
asked
good.
that he have at least one child. You know, I said one is good, so he has an understanding of what it is to be a single parent. I wanted him to be someone who we genuinely had a good time together. I wanted someone who genuinely just wanted to be with me for me, like just wanted someone who just genuinely wanted to be around me. Um, and I went down the line. I want him to be able to get along with my family. I want this. I want him to be this type of person because he'll be more understanding of that. And
Mm-hmm.
I just literally thought everything out. And I think it was like 3 months later, the number three, something. um, I spoke about it before. We ran into each other at the bar and everything. And I knew that night, like something in me recognized something in him. I knew he was a good man and everything. I also knew, and this is the part that kind of freaked me out, because I knew he was the one. I knew he was the type of man that you couldn't play games with. Like if you were going to date him, you needed to be serious about it. Like you couldn't be wishy-washy
Mm-hmm.
about it. Like he was the type of man to me that deserved more than that. So we went through this little roller coaster thing, but it worked out in the end. He was everything I wanted and some, more than I ever could have imagined. And it just, you
The
know,
other the
the other
other
thing
thing that I
is,
would say,
real
go ahead.
quick,
Go ahead.
what you were saying about the right time and all of that,
Mhm.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
he and
Mm.
I knew all the same people, to the point that his stepfather was friends with my father.
Oh, wow.
Pictures of his stepfather from Christmases at the bodega in Jersey.
Wow.
His mother has been in weddings of our family, our aunts and stuff, our aunts and uncles. He would hang out with one of our cousins. He knew, like, we knew so many of the same people, but we never met until I said, I am ready and this is
Oh,
what I want.
okay.
The
Now to that,
possibility to meet him was always there. It's not your
Yeah.
time, like you
it's not
said.
a
Yeah, that's true.
plus this kind of ties in with what she's saying. The other thing that you have to be very aware of is who you are at that moment in time. So when you're manifesting the right guy, you need to be aware of who you are and what kind of guy is right for you. For example, I needed someone strong because I'm a strong character. Like I'm a strong person. I wasn't going to work with somebody insecure, and I wasn't going to gel with somebody like a weakling or somebody, I don't know, because then I was going to be the dominant trait and I'm not a dominant person. I need someone that's more dominant than I am. With that said, you also have to be ready to deal with that type of personality, because it's kind of you have to have that balance,
Yeah,
that yin
you
and
have
yang.
to be very specific.
Yeah, you have to be very specific with
I
that.
yeah,
And
good.
aware, you have to recognize who you are. Because if you're the type of person that likes to be sarcastic all the time, well, you need somebody that can handle those kind of jokes, or that kind of, like, you need to be very specific with who you're going to
Yeah.
end up with. Like I needed somebody, and I think that's the most thing that I treasure in my husband. He accepts me exactly as I am. Like, he hasn't wanted to change anything about me at all. At
Exactly.
all. Like, he
Yeah.
doesn't care that I will sit there with a book and read. And if I want to finish my whole book in one day or in one sitting,
My
it
husband
doesn't.
gets a kick out of me when I do stuff like that. He enjoys my nerdy side when I'm
Yeah.
like finding information. I'm like, babe, guess what I found out today? He's like, tell me, baby, tell me. You know what I mean? Like, he I'm fully able to be myself with him, and I always felt I was either too much or not enough.
Mm-hmm.
And with him, I'm neither of those things. It's exactly right. You know what I mean? Like, he never
Mm-hmm.
makes me feel like I'm overwhelming him, and he never makes me feel like I'm not enough of anything. You know what I mean? Like, he always just he constantly tells me, and he and I
It's
talk
it
about it when we met all the time.
it'll be somebody that'll shine in your light, that'll shine with you, not not feel overwhelmed by your light, and not feel brighter than you. It'll be that perfect. Even if the relationship doesn't feel like it's perfect, it'll still, at the end of the day, it'll be that perfect balance. Like, if you sit back and look at it
And don't
and
get me
analyze.
wrong, we had to work our way to get to an amazing place. Like any other
Mm-hmm.
relationship, you're learning each other. Um, you know, getting used to each other's characters and how the person lives and what they like and what they don't like and stuff like that. There's always adjustment, no matter how perfect you are for someone or they for
Mm-hmm.
you, there's always adjustment. Um,
Mm-hmm.
we worked to get where we are, but we
Yeah.
made it a priority.
Yep. I mean, I almost got divorced. So there's that.
I I I ended things with him. We had been dating for about a few weeks, and I made up a lie, and I'm like, I can't see you anymore. And it wasn't him, it was because I was freaked out. Like, am I really ready for this? Am
Mm-hmm.
I really ready to give this my all? He's everything I want, but it was me I was worried about. You know what I mean? Not so much him. And then one day, and when I ended things with him, that's the other thing. After I told him, I don't think this is working out, my experiences in the past with ending things were not in the least bit positive. He completely, like, no problem. I completely understand. Listen, I'm still here for you if you ever need to talk again, yada, yada, yada. Don't forget my number, this, and that. But, I hope everything works out for you. Like, he was just so calm and so peaceful. And that made me take a step back, like,
Mm.
damn, are you gonna let that kind of a man just walk away? You know what I mean? And there was just one night where I was with a girlfriend and I wanted to go out or do something, but she didn't want to go anywhere. Um, and I really just wanted to hang out with someone who genuinely all they wanted was just to spend some time with me. And I called him that night, and he has a hilarious story on his end about when I called him and everything. And yeah, he came over, and that night we just clicked. We went out to eat and stuff like that, and it just and I it takes my breath away sometimes. I don't like to think about the fact that I had ended things with him, because it's like there was a moment in time where I could have lost him. And it just, like, anytime I think about that, it literally, like, just takes my breath away. Like, so being ready for what you ask for is extremely important.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I think I just wasn't prepared for how quick it happened after I asked too. I think that was part of it.
Universal timing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Yep. There are so many different techniques to manifesting. There's a lot of different types of techniques in manifesting. I have manifested in different vibrations, I guess you would say. Like as a single mother, there was one time where, something happened with the car or something, and I needed money. And in desperation, I just like looked up in the sky. I'm like, I really, really need this money. Like, but that came from a lower vibrational place. You don't want things to happen. And check came in. You know what I mean? And I had the money I needed. You always want to, someone today on a video, I can't even remember, I watched quite a few. She said, when you manifest from a desperate place like that, you're actually going against flow. You're trying to force things into place. That's actually a root chakra manifestation because it comes from the lower vibrations. But again, you don't want to be in a desperate time to have to push those things. And she said it was a very clunky way of manifesting.
You say you manifest with the root chakra? That's what you say?
I think that's what I did. Because I was
Because
in
okay.
moments of desperation, your car breaks down and you're like, oh my God, what am I gonna do? I need this to go to work and yada yada yada. And in desperation, you ask for the money to come in. That's actually coming from your root chakra area, the lower
Okay.
vibrational
Yeah,
area.
because I hear something about that, like the first 3 chakras is connected with the earth.
Right.
And
Exactly.
yeah, and
Yep.
the next, like heart,
There's
throat,
higher
is
level.
connected with the spiritual.
Right.
Yeah, now I understand what you say. Okay.
Right. I'm glad you brought it up because that's exactly like what she said, the bottom 3 chakras.
So
Which is probably,
that's
I think,
why the
mhm.
man more connect with with the earth than the woman.
Right.
Well, I don't know.
Sometimes men tend to manifest from the root chakra more because it is a more masculine energy, I guess.
Yeah.
And women, and this is all generally speaking,
But
big
it makes sense for me because like the first experience that I mentioned earlier where I had that separation from family and everything, I think that came from a low vibration. That was a moment of like, I don't know, almost a low,
desperation.
yeah, a low point in my life where I was like, you know, I need to make decisions in my life and I need to, that's where the almost divorce came from.
Mhm.
Um and I'm, like I needed clarity and I need time for me and I need this and I need that. But it wasn't from a good point. I wasn't
Right.
at a good point. I was at a low point. And then I ended up so far away from my family,
Yeah.
not the way that I wanted it to be.
Yeah.
And it could be a cause of why it ended up being that way. I don't know.
One time Magnetize, um, in one of her videos had said something about manifesting from the root chakras, the lower chakras. That's a very clunky energy because it's so heavy and dense. So
Mhm.
you're like, I don't know if this is if this is even a word, clunkily manifesting things with a very heavy, dense energy. Um, and that's really not what how you want to do it. You
Yeah.
want to do it from a light, airy, spiritual place, but it all has to be connected. The more balance you have with your root and the higher spiritual elements of your chakras, the more you will manifest
Yes. It's
because you're in
the
alignment.
what's it called? That comes in with the law of attraction.
Right. Like
With the law of attraction.
Abraham Hicks, she always says you want to what is that? Exude the vibration of what it is you want to attract.
Exactly.
So you want to match the vibrations of, if it's abundance, that's a particular vibration. If it's love, that's another type of vibration. But it all comes from a higher joyful place, I
Right.
guess.
Now we're not talking top, we're talking that mid flowy point that you were talking about
Right.
earlier.
That's where you ideally want to be on a daily.
Right.
You know, let me just pull it back up real quick.
And
Where
in certain ways you can keep that mentality is thinking about things that actually bring you peace, things that bring you joy, family, pictures that you have, all that kind of stuff. You keep it in hindsight, you keep it in
Yep.
the back of your mind to help you bring up your vibrations when you're feeling low.
It's gratitude manifesting. It's a part of gratitude manifesting. I
Yeah.
think it might be a mix of another one, but that
Mhm.
is the way of gratitude manifesting. Finding what makes you happy and allowing that happiness to spread into all other aspects of your life, and let that happiness drive your desires and manifestations without holding on to them too tightly. So Abraham Hicks, that's how she likes to explain to people who are asking how to manifest certain things. Like, if your life is crappy, how do you find something happy? And she was like, if it's that cup of coffee in the morning that gives you joy, you hold on to that joyful feeling that that cup of coffee in the morning gives you. And
Yeah.
you build on it, and you build on it,
Yep.
and you build on it.
A lot of people tend to criticize, like when you're on vacation. And a lot of people tend to criticize the people that like to take pictures. But in my mind, for me, I'm holding that memory and I'm freezing it in time. And when I'm at a low and I can't think of anything positive, I'll pull up my camera, my slideshow, and I'll look at pictures that bring me joy, that bring me peace. And it helps. Watch a comedy. I mean, they even recommend that for like terminally ill patients.
Laughter.
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 Comedy.
I think right below love,
Mm-hmm.
laughter is one of your highest, it brings about one of your highest vibrations.
And
And
they
it can be
say it
very
works.
healing.
It can be very healing, is what they say.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yep.
And again, we're not recommending to take that over medicine or anything like that, because that's not what we're saying.
Yeah.
But it's something you can do additionally to what you're already, to the meds you're already taking and whatever else your doctor has recommended you do.
Exactly. Like the vision boards, when you, like, let's say there's a house that you want, if you find a picture of like the most beautiful house in the style that you want and you put it on that vision board, every time you look at it, you know, seeing that beautiful house is going to bring you joy. So it's a
Yeah.
reminder of being happy. Like the vision board, you know, you focus, what you focus on is what grows. Where you put your energy and your focus into, that's what grows. So when you focus on as much positive things as you can, that brings about positive energy. And when you're living in positive vibration, that's when you become extremely magnetic to the things you want to manifest.
Yep. And you can test it out. You can do little tests. In the secret, I think she recommended the stoplights, was it? Or the parking spots. And you can you
Or
can literally,
flour, coffee.
yeah,
Oh,
you can.
Yeah.
explain, because I don't know.
Okay, so one of the examples that she gave was at a stoplight, like all the stoplights will be green. So you won't so it's not, you have to kind of like, it's kind of teaching yourself, training your brain to be on that positive
Mhm.
mentality and that law of attraction mentality. So instead of saying, I'm not going to catch any red lights, all my lights are going to be green.
Right.
Or that slow car that's in front of you, he's going to turn right now. He's getting out of my way now. And
Yeah.
those kind of things. The parking space, my parking space is right over there.
Yeah.
And start doing those little tricks and you'll see. And once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to do more and more and more.
Because of my accident, and I have to say, I've mentioned it multiple times, but it was a severe accident, so it had like a entire life effect on me. My anxiety, I'd always had a form of anxiety, but the accident drove my anxiety into like a clinical, full on type of thing. So I had heard someone somewhere say without accident, allow me to arrive to my destination without accident or incident. And then I heard somewhere else that it might have been Abraham Hicks, where she was describing the same type of thing as the secret. Don't use the negative words. You want to the flip side of the coin. So now I say safe, smooth, and sound. Let me get to my destination safe, smooth, and sound, instead of without accident or incident, because you're putting vibration into accident, incident, accident, incident. So you could actually draw more things to happen to you. You want to use the positive side of that. However, you can flip that to a positive statement. Whatever statement you say to yourself, however you can flip it to a positive statement, that's the statement you use.
Exactly.
Don't focus on
Yeah. As soon
negative
as you
things
said it
don't
the
want.
first way.
Focus on the positive things you do want, not the
Yeah.
negative things you don't want.
Yeah.
That's true.
So we've talked about things that we've already manifested in our lives, which I want to make something clear to anyone watching. Manifesting, even though it sounds like we've been able to manifest like that, it's not always like that. There are times where, there are things that you want and desire and they still yet to happen. So it's, we don't want to give you the idea that it's, super easy to achieve, and it does take time sometimes, and it depends on where you are in life, what you're working with in your personal situation. With all that said, do you have anything, Jeannie, that you still want to manifest that you haven't so far?
I do. Well, it's gonna sound a little vain, but I want to manifest a more fit body, and it's like the most thing without
That's
any
not vain at
surgical,
all. That's not
without any type of surgical.
naturally.
Yeah, I want to do it naturally. I want to do it through exercise because I want to stay more fit. Well, obviously to look better, but also as I get older, I want to be able to
Healthier.
be healthier. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it's the one thing that I don't know if it's that I need a little bit more discipline in manifesting it, because I have to do my part. And
Everything takes effort.
yeah, so I don't have well, I do have the discipline. I just don't apply the discipline that I need to stay actively doing exercise, to be consistent in it. Exactly. And I know I need that, but I'm going to do that. I want to get, to be 100% fit and healthy is
That's a
my
good
goal.
one. What
Yeah.
about you, Ani? What do you still want to manifest?
For now, I'm not sure about that, but I just wanna still feeling grateful and positive, for now, because I know it helped me a lot,
Yeah. Yeah.
What about you, Len?
The lotto.
Yeah. I think we all want that one.
Yeah. No, jokingly, but also, yeah, but, no, me and my husband, we're always talking about what we're going to do when, two things. our youngest will be done high school in a couple of years. So we'll be not empty nesters, but it won't be a constant every day. Make sure you're at school. What's going on with report card? Blah blah blah. So what we're gonna do when we're not attending all of his sports and things like that, our getaways, and we want to get
Mm-hmm.
into camping. We want to get a camper and all of that, and we have a bucket list, like a whole list of places that we want to go visit. And then once he's fully retired, we want to go, out further. Like for right now, we would probably stay a little close to home, probably in state, and then once he's retired, we could go to other states and stuff like that. Um, we just want to see a lot of the country's natural parks and, things that you don't know about that are out there to discover and see. So that's our short, long list. There's a
Yeah,
short list and a long list.
yeah. There's always something that some new goal you set or something. But I think my ultimate one is to stay fit, and healthy. Try to get as healthy as I can as I get older, because we're not getting any younger.
Abraham Hicks, I've actually heard her. She's an American inspirational speaker, and she speaks a lot about manifestation and different ways, and she always goes back to meditation. Um, she says one of the things that helps keep you in flow and in that zone, so to speak, is having new things you want to achieve, because it gives you new excitement. It gives you new things to look forward to. It gives you new things to work towards. Just because, like, let's say, because it's so common, let's say you hit the lotto for $100 million, right? You have the resources to do all the things you want to do, but there will always be something else that you want to do after that. And then there will always be something else you want to do after that one. And then a new experience or a new place, or you know what I mean? Um, Part of being in that flow state or mentality is always trying to keep things new and fresh to a certain degree. So like, let's say you reach your fit body. There will always be something else. What would be your
Yeah,
next thing on the list, Let's say you reach
early
a
retirement,
place,
definitely. Early
you know what I
retirement.
mean? Right, and then if you achieve that, what would you wanna do after that? So,
Mm-hmm.
there's always something, always look forward to the new things, always try to
Yeah,
keep a fresh perspective, and, no matter what you achieve, there's always something else to achieve, there's always something else to see, there's always something else to do, there's always something else to conquer.
yeah,
I have 1,000,001 hobbies.
yeah, yeah. What other what other types of techniques can you recommend?
We touched on the vision board.
Mhm.
Seeing it reminds you of what it is that you want, and having a visualization of it makes you happy. It brings up your vibration. There's also journaling and or scripting. Um Journaling is when you just journal, this is what I want, this is what I want to accomplish, this is what I want to do. In a more like, I guess, like a conversational style, like you would journal
Mhm.
something. And scripting is more specific. Scripting is where you specifically write out every detail of what it is that you want. Then there is manifestation affirmations, things that you can tell yourself daily, that it starts to seep into your subconscious, and you start vibrating at higher levels, like, I am ready to receive my abundance, my happiness, or my love. I am worthy of love or happiness. I am grateful for this. I trust the universe is always working in my favor. You
I
repeat it to
saw I
yourself.
saw the 369. I think that falls under that one.
Oh, what's the 369?
The 369 is where you'll write 3 times what it is that you want. I want something X. I want X. And then you'll write 6 times I have X. And then or I get X by so and so thing. And then 9 times you'll write down I have X. Thank you. Like, and
Okay.
you'll write that out 9 times. It's something that I saw, like when I hit a search, like if you hit a search on YouTube, you just write manifestation, so many things pop up. And that was one of the first things that I saw that came up for, I haven't personally put it into practice, but I saw that a lot of people were putting that out there. I don't know if it works, but it's one of the, I thought it seems similar to what you were talking about. Like,
Scripting.
right.
It's a
Mhm.
form of scripting. That's what it
Yep.
sounds like. Yeah.
Mhm.
And that kind of also falls into the next one, visualization. Visualization. Sorry. So basically you picture what you want to manifest, whether it be an object, a relationship, a specific type of home situation, a competition you want to win. You picture the whole thing in detail, what it would feel like to have it, to live in that house, to be working that job, to have won that trophy, and fully immerse yourself in the feeling of what having achieved your goal or your manifestation would feel like.
Mhm.
So that kind of like where you were saying, I have this and I have this, thank you.
Mhm.
The 369, it kind of falls into that where you're already picturing that you have it.
Yeah,
Um,
I actually have a really good example of that recently with somebody who's kind of a skeptic and somebody who I do a lot of talking to try to convince them
mhm,
about all this stuff. And recently he was like, how can I manifest this? And he specified exactly what he wanted. And he was like, he wants a pool, right? A big in-ground pool. And I was like, well, I was like, picture it in your mind. Picture your backyard. Picture what it's going to look like, where you want it placed. Draw a sketch of your backyard. Put a picture of the pool with the landscaping that you want in it. Do the whole nine. He's literally they're gonna start digging up his backyard, I think next week, if I'm not mistaken. He went from 0 to 60 in, he doesn't even know how he did it. And I was like, you manifested it. I was like, you did it all. You
I
had
was
the
gonna
faith.
ask you, what was his response when it started to happen?
He was he was surprised and incredulous because this thing, he did, he manifested this conversation hasn't even been a month long. So for it to have been his first real manifestation, he's super ecstatic and it's something that he's always wanted. And he was like, like he's always watching the videos and stuff. And he's like, oh, but it doesn't work. And I see it happening for you and this and that. And you can do it so fast. And I'm like, you just have faith, trust the process. It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen. Pay attention to the signs because you're gonna get signs. Everything is gonna lead you on your path. Everything is gonna line up the way it's supposed to go. It is. And if like I said, he sketched it out. He drew it out. He sent me a picture of it, of the little croquis. I forget how you say that in English, but it's the little kind of like what a engineer uses. I forget what it's called in English, like a plans.
The
Like
paper, the
yeah,
graphic paper,
yeah, with the like sketching and the
the
measurements.
lines.
It had
Yeah.
measurements, it had the whole nine. I told him, do all that stuff, you'll see. And it happened for him.
Yeah.
So I'm really happy for him for that. And if it happens for him, he's a real big skeptic when it comes to all this. He questions every single step of the way. He's questioning the whole nine. It'll happen for anybody. It can happen for anybody.
Yeah, exactly. And you
But you
can't get
gotta.
that was something else that Abraham Hicks talks about. Once you've tried to manifest what it is that you want, you can't hold on to it so tightly that when it doesn't happen, you get so disappointed. That disappointment is going to throw you back 10 steps. So you have to want it and then let it go out into the universe, so to speak,
Mhm.
and it'll come when it comes. You can't put a timing on it or anything like that and then get disappointed when it doesn't happen, because then you're working against yourself.
Yeah.
Then you're working against flow state.
Mhm. You
Yeah,
gotta trust that process.
trusting the process, being patient, all of that. Exactly. And then there's gratitude, you know,
Oh, that's one of the most
that's kind of
important.
like what Ani was saying earlier. The idea that if you're grateful for the things, people, situations you currently have, that same gratitude will expand within you and bring you more things to be grateful for. It's like creating a cycle of gratitude. The more
Yeah.
grateful you are with what you currently have, the more magnetic, the law of attraction comes into play, and the more things you will have to be grateful for. And it becomes a really positive cycle of
Mhm.
manifestation in your life.
Celebrate the little things, um, and appreciate and love
Yeah.
everything you have.
And take, like, let's say you accomplish something. Let's say it's something small. Many of the speakers have said, don't just celebrate it for 2 seconds and then move on to the next thing. Like, really enjoy the fact that you accomplished something, immerse yourself in the feeling, let yourself really feel it, because that will help further put you into flow state to
Bless you.
keep that going. Bless you.
Thank you.
I mean, I celebrate every time I find a penny, is that on that level of, and I'll be happy for it. And the same way I found a penny, I've found $100 bills. So it just
I
is.
Neville Goddard. He's
Goddard.
yeah,
Yeah.
something like that.
He sounds
He's
familiar.
talking about, yeah, I think he was one of the first talking about the law of attractions. He was so good. He talking about you have to create a image, and you have to go inside the image like a meditation, but you create the image and you have to go inside. And when you go inside, you creating something, and you have to touch something, try to feel something in the image that makes feel real inside
Right.
the image. I don't know if you understand or not.
Yeah,
That's
you want to make that image like you want to feel it, smell it, see it,
yeah,
like the exact shade of color it is, like fully immerse yourself in the idea that you have what it is that you want. Um,
yeah, like
a
creating like
full
a
picture.
reality. Hmm.
Right. And that's actually like a hybrid technique of visualization with meditation. So you go into a meditative state and you're visualizing what it is that you want.
Yeah,
So it's two techniques in one. And there's many more that we didn't even touch on. One of the last ones was meditation. Every time we end an episode, it always ends with meditation. So
Mhm.
guided meditation, some with affirmations. They have some that have are affirmation guided meditations. Then there are other ones where it's a guided meditation where they're trying to guide your energy to a productive state, like teach you how to get to that zone within yourself, that balance that helps you get into flow state.
Mhm.
So, and a lot of these techniques can be combined, like the journaling and the scripture, the visualization and the meditation. Different things work for different people. One type of technique may not work for you. So you may want to try, experiment, have fun with it.
Yeah,
Um,
do the little tests that I was talking
yeah,
about
little
earlier.
little things like I want pizza for dinner tonight, and see. There have been times when I've been at home and I'm like, I could really go for some pizza for dinner tonight. And my husband will call me when he gets off of work and he's like, "Hey, honey, I'm bringing a pizza for dinner. They were having a sale or blah, blah, blah." So I picked it up on the way home. Try just little things like that and work your way up. And remember, enjoy every little thing you are able to manifest. Feel full joy about it.
Yeah.
My husband, he's one of the things he says he gets a kick out of me for is I get really excited for like little things. So like if my kids bring me a plant, because I'm into my plants and all of that, and they bring me this plant, I've been eyeing this type of plant I've been eyeing for forever. I like start doing my little happy dance, like, oh my God, I'm so excited. I try to take joy in the little things as much as I can.
Yes, that's
Um,
true.
And
you know,
it's not only for manifesting, it's healthy. It will help you in the long run, with your health, with your mental health, physical health. It will help you.
when I was going
Just
through my dark night of the soul, after the accident, that was one of the things, like every day I would just be like, I'm grateful for my children and my husband. Like there were things that I had to hold on to try and get through that period. And my husband always tells me, no matter how bad you think you have it, there's someone else out there who has it worse. So if you're in pain, be grateful that you still have all your legs. You have both your legs, or
Mhm.
if you can't do this, be grateful that you can do that. It's about that mentality of looking at a cup. Is it half empty or half full?
Yeah, exactly.
It's that mentality. You have to look at the cup as though it's half full and not half empty. That's sticking to the positive vibrational side of it. Of all the times you've manifested, what would be your favorite type? The easiest that has come to you.
The cars. It's not my favorite, but for whatever reason, it's been the easiest, I think.
And that was what technique were you using with that one? You were just putting it
Uh,
to the universe
yeah, pretty
type,
much.
right?
Because that and money, surprisingly, and there's no wood around here for me to knock on, but
Hey.
but yeah, but surprisingly, those I think it's been more along the lines of faith and trusting that process, putting it out there and staying positive and just being really sure that that everything's going to work out the way it's supposed to work out.
Exactly.
So I think that's what, in my case, it's what's worked for me. um and then I don't dwell on it a lot. Like, I'll just put it out there, which is
Just let
probably
it
why
go.
I'm not a lotto winner yet, because that's the one I dwell on. But financially, thank God, I think that's the one that's probably been the easiest for me. It's been a long road. Don't get me wrong. I don't know. I don't know. Like I said, I get those little surprise checks.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I wrote out a whole bunch of little checks way back when, to myself from the universe. So try that
Jim
one and
Carrey
see if
did
it
that.
works. I even have one in my wallet. So to this
Yeah.
day, so that might be it, actually.
Jim Carrey did that. He
Oh
wrote
yeah?
himself a check for like $1 million or $5 million, and he put
Huh.
it in his wallet when he was broke at the time.
Okay,
And
I'm gonna write one for the Powerball and let's see.
he-
No, no, I'm kidding. Well, kidding but not
hey,
kidding.
if it happens, I'm not gonna say no.
Yeah, so it might be the checks. Try it out and let me see. And let me know.
What about you?
What about
What's been your like the easiest technique for you?
For me, like to go in an image, like
Visualization.
visualization and feel it. I'm trying to feel it, and I'm trying to make how you say eye contact with the people inside the image.
Gotcha.
I don't know if it works for me. That's worked for me.
Okay.
Yeah.
And yours, Len? You didn't say.
I guess like putting it out there in the universe and
Mhm.
writing it down. And when I put it out in the universe, like, just put it out there or asked, God or spoke to, my guides or whatever, it's my manifestations have come the fastest, and more of them have happened when I've done it from a calm state,
Mm-hmm.
almost in like a meditative state. But when you meditate with your eyes closed and all of that. My eyes are open, and I
Mhm.
just speak out as though I'm speaking to someone who's literally standing there. And I'm pretty specific. And it's always been when I've done that, like just laying in bed or something like that, really calm and relaxed. They've always seemed to come much faster. That's what I did, when I tried to manifest my relationship with my husband. It was a very calm state. I said all the things that I was grateful for, had the entire thing specific list of what I did and didn't want, and then again ended it with gratefulness, and I let it go. I forgot about it. And that's part of, you got to let it go and kind of forget about it. You can think about it, and imagine and visualize, but you can't hinge all your hopes on it, because if it doesn't happen according to your personal timeline, it brings disappointment.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the speaking out and putting it out into the universe.
Also, well, for me, I've been grateful through all like the different levels. When I didn't have anything, when I had the broken down cars, when I was going through trouble, I tried to maintain that gratefulness. So that might be another, tried to stay humble. I've tried to stay humble till this day. Um, but the gratefulness is also another one that I use on the daily, I think.
Every time I get in my car
Mhm.
and I either have heat or air conditioning, I'm like, thank you, because I went so many years without it.
Mhm.
I've had my car for quite a few months now, almost a year, and I still like, thank you for this, or I come home and it's like, thank you, for X, or thank you for Y, or thank you. I try to be grateful for everything, and maintaining that humble thing. Yeah. That's a big thing. Yeah. And that grateful helps you to tap into a happiness as well, which helps you to tap into the right vibration that helps you to manifest. It's
Mhm.
it's a, what do they call that? Like, it's one thing on top of the other that leads to the other, that leads
A
to
chain reaction.
a chain reaction. Yeah. I think that's all we have for today. If anyone has any really crazy manifestation stories, I would love to hear, some stuff like that. If you wanted to leave comments below, like even some fun stuff. Like I've heard people talk at like the Abraham Hicks's conferences, and this one lady was like, "Yeah, I almost hit the Powerball. It was like two numbers off or one number off or something like that." And she still got a big prize, but she didn't get the full,
Mhm.
whatchamacallit. And she's like, "I was one number off, one number off." So for our upcoming episodes, we're going to be discussing signs and synchronicities, light workers, and numerology. Also, a quick mention for all of our bilingual viewers, if you haven't already checked out our Spanish episodes, we think you'd really enjoy them. So give them a quick look.
And hopefully the information we share with you today has been helpful or beneficial in some way to you. And please remember to trust the process. We thank you for staying with us and hope you will join with us on another episode of Discovering Our Gift.